author Lisa Walker-McCrae with another riveting story time from the pages of my novel, A Peculiar Kind of Love. Remember, you guys, this video is for entertainment purposes only. First of all, we're going to start this thing off right and give much praise to the Most High Yah and a shout out to those that are still in this thing with me. Much love to you all. With that being said, let's see what the imagination holds for us today. You ready yourselves, and let's turn some pages. Clarence, set the stage. Okay, quick recap, listeners and hearers. In our last reading, we sit in with friends and family at Chantel's memorial service. It had been a year since her untimely passing, so everyone that loved her, Jay and Gabe, came out to celebrate her life. Even Lorraine showed up. Her mother? Yes, if y'all can remember, Jay was worrying with self about letting Lorraine have a relationship with Gabe. As we can see, our boy made the right decision and allowed Lorraine the opportunity to share in Gabe's raising. And she was thrilled. As a matter of fact, the entire village welcomed Lorraine in. We left them comfortable and excited at Mystic Pier celebrating Gabe's first birthday. Yes, our little man has turned a year old and he's still alive. If y'all can remember those episodes of The Cosby Show with Olivia, anytime anyone asked her about her raising with Denise, she always said, "I'm still alive." Well, our little man is still alive, so Drew and Jay, they've been doing a pretty good job. Anyways, on a more fascinating note, Dean showed up to Mystic Pier. Now, we don't know if she's on her own outing or if she's another Amy, but remember, her and Jay were being real cordial at Drew's birthday party. Anyway, we're about to find out, hunties, so strap into your imaginations and come with me. We're still at Mystic Pier and Drew is embracing Dean. "Hey girl, what are you doing here?" she asked. Dean was all smiles eyeing Jay. "I was invited," she informed. Oh snap, so she was invited. There's our answer. Anywho, Drew questioned the blush on Dean's face. "Join us," she welcomed. Drew was somewhat rattled, gawking over at Jay. She asked self, now why would he invite Dean today of all days? Drew question had a need to know. So she unnoticeably walked off, secretly motioning Jay to follow her. "What's up?" Jay asked. Drew looked at him with questionable eyes, as if he already knew the answer to the question she hadn't asked. "What? Why you looking at me like that?" Jay asked. Drew quickly grew frustrated with Jay's nonchalant attitude. She asked, "Are you crazy inviting Dean knowing Lorraine is here?" "No, I'm not crazy. And what's the problem?" Jay waited for a response. Drew shook her head. She couldn't believe Jay could be so careless. Drew spoke. "Are you serious, Jay? You can't see the problem here? For goodness sake, that's Chantel's mother," she voiced. It wasn't that Drew had a problem with the Dean and Jay concept, but she was more so concerned about Lorraine, how she would feel about it, which is understandable, and that's why Drew proceeded to voice her concerns when Jay stopped her, informing her that Dean was the reason Lorraine was there. Drew was now confused, eyeing Jay with more questions. "What did Dean have to do with this?" she asked. Jay chuckled, assuring everything was well and good and he will explain later. Until then, she just needed to relax and enjoy the day. Folding her frustrating arms, Drew had questions and wanted answers, but she would follow Jay's instructions for now. But he had some explaining to do. "Oh, Jay, you got some explaining to do, puppy." However, the day went on. The group enjoyed good eats, birthday cake, shared laughter, and plenty of stories about Chantel. After their gift opening was done, the ladies agreed it was time to leave the men and explore the pier. Drew was excited about this part. She hurried to kiss Marcus. This would give her the opportunity to question Dean. Oh, our girl is nosy for sure. Anywho, Drew allowed Monte and Lorraine to go ahead while her and Dean lingered behind. The pair walked in silence. Dean observed their pair and Drew mentally listed her questions. Ooh, this girl right here is something else. Anyway, she wanted to beat around the bush, but she couldn't. So she stated and asked, I didn't know you and Jay had gotten so close. Y'all hear that? She didn't know her and Jay had gotten so close. That's asking and stating something at the same time. Drew know what she doing. Take heed, honeys. This is how people get in your business. Be aware. Be aware. Anyway, Dean was happy to inform Drew her and Jay had been seeing one another nonstop since her party. Wow, he didn't say anything to me about it. I'm happy for you guys. Drew was lying through her teeth. Now she was happy, but she wasn't happy Jay kept her in the dark about it. Drew thought, how could Jay not say anything to me? He had moved on. Him and Dean was in a whole relationship and he hadn't said a thing. Drew was rattled, but she didn't express her feelings to Dean because she didn't want to make Dean feel uneasy or think she had a problem with her and Jay getting to know one another. There was an awkward silence. Dean knew Drew well enough to know she had questions. Voluntarily, she informed she and Jay had been seeing each other for the last couple of months, dating, getting to know one another. Drew focused in on the excitement coming from Dean. By the looks of it, she was already involved in Jay, already had feelings. Dean smiled bashfully. I don't know how it all happened. We were chopping it up at your party one minute, and the next we were having coffee talking about Gabe's grandmother. Dean chuckled, informing Drew Jay had been at a crossroad about letting Lorraine be in Gabe's life or not. Drew picked up the biggest hammer she could find and clobbered Jay over the head with it, smashing him into the ground. Snapping back to reality, Drew spoke. Wow, like I said, Dean, I'm happy for you guys. She then gave Dean a hug. Drew could understand the role Dean played. She had been the one to convince Jay to let Lorraine in. She was okay with that. Although Drew did feel some type of way about Jay not telling her, she fully understood. See, for Drew, all she wanted was for Jay to be happy. And by the looks of it, Dean was doing a pretty good job at doing that. So there was no need to question it. Fortunately, the day was done and everything was a success. Drew had put Gabe down for the night and was now sitting on the front porch with Jay. Oh, we ain't been on the front porch in a long time, huh? So both of them were gazing up at the sky. It had a unique beauty. The clouds were illuminated with an unusual backlight, making the sky look navy blue and purplish. The stars played a game of peekaboo behind the clouds. Drew and Jay sat in silence, speaking to each other's hearts. There was a lot being said in the silence. Drew had questions and Jay had answers. Crickets chirped. Frogs croaked. Jay was done with the almost uncomfortable silence. He spoke. Look, Drew, I know you're disappointed that I didn't tell you about Dean. Drew sat in silence, allowing Jay to express himself. Jay continued. I didn't tell you about it because I wasn't sure. I needed more time to make sure it was right before I brought it to the family. And that was a wise thing you did, my boy. We gotta make sure these people are right before we bring them to the family, right? Anyway, Drew was still silent. A single tear rolled down her face. Say something, Drew, Jay expressed. A smile painted her face. There's nothing to say, Jay. You're happy. Of course I was a little salty before because you didn't tell me. But the smile I seen on your face this evening, this day, nothing else mattered. Anything understood, Jay, doesn't have to be explained. The pair eyed one another, and for the first time in a long time, they were both happy and content. They weren't the only ones happy. Walking into her office at the boutique, Dean was all smiles. Not only was she happy about the time spent with Jay, but she was even more excited about the time she spent with Drew. She pulled a photo from her purse her, Jay, and Drew had taken at the pier. She smiled even more. Dean had grown close to them both over the last few months and hoped it was the beginning of a lifelong friendship. Dean placed the picture close to her heart as if she was hugging them both. "What are you doing? Who's in the picture?" Dean jumped. A man's voice from the shadows of her office had startled her. Dean exhaled the sudden fear. "You scared me. Why are you in the dark?" she asked. Then she quickly stuffed the photo back in her purse. "I was just sitting here thinking," the voice calmly informed. "What are you thinking about?" Dean nervously asked. "Thinking if you're going to be honest and tell me who's in the picture." Dean eyed the young man. "Oh, snap! Who is this man and why is he questioning Dean?" I told y'all it is always something going on in this village that'll keep you entertained. Now, girl, we done introduced you to the family. What you got going on? Who is this man, Sophia, and why is he asking you questions? Hunties, we are in a need-to-know situation, and if y'all need to know, y'all better come back over here so you can find out. Or you can go by the book. I'm just saying. Hint, hint. Anyways, for those that are involved, y'all meet me back over here for the next story time because I know y'all have questions and we're gonna have the answers. Until then, beautiful souls, register this. Convictions come with corrections, and corrections help you do better. It helps you grow. And remember, Proverbs 3:12 says, Yah corrects those that he loves, so accept his correction and move accordingly. Yah bless this reading and yourselves. Smooches.